Okay, so today we're going to rekey this lock and give it a good service. So start by taking that apart. There's a bit of grease in there and oil. So the main thing is to give this a good clean up. Okay, so we do is we put a bit of oil on it and we give it a wipe down. Some work. AC90. So you just want to get the grease off it because the grease is acting like a glue. So we're going to do is want to wipe down all the parts. Okay, so it's not too bad. We'll have to do the same for the bolt and the levers. Give them a good old oil up and clean off, maybe a bit of a polish. So I'm going to save you that boring part. So literally the oil will break down the grease, wipe it off, and then we can polish it up on the wire brush if need be. So we will be back in a moment. Okay, so giving it a bit of a clean up. So these will give a little bit of a brush, a bit tarnish. We could gently clean them up with a piece of emery cloth, but I think they're pretty good actually, so I don't think we need to. So the thing I want to do is I want to alter the order of these levers as well in the lock. So if the old key turns up, it doesn't work. So I'm just going to write the numbers on these the way they came out. So it's going to write 1. It's going to put them back in the lock because I need to rebuild the lock to start making the key. So put this on. Okay, and then we'll start putting the levers in. It's actually hard to do film because I'm looking at the same image you're looking at as I rebuild this lock. So we're going to basically put the case back together. So I'll label these levers as they come out next time. The very top lever, it's got to be near the top because it's got a hook on it, a little hook. It's called a drop lever. So when that's locked in, it stops the bolt from dropping out. Okay, that feels pretty good. Okay, I didn't clean this actually, so I'll give that a little spray over. So just this grease can turn to glue after a while. So a bit of oil on it will break it down. Okay, so we can put that back together. Put the screws in. and then we'll start marking the case up. Down there, that's the other screw. Going there. Okay, so it's back together now, so we'll give it a clean up, which is good enough, and we'll start making a key. Okay, so I'll put you on a tripod. So the lock is back together. So one of the things I'm going to do is I have to size the key. It's the best way I find is just to use a felt tip pen. And then when we put that in the lock, that blank is obviously too long. Okay, so I'm going to take down that edge of the key so it slides into the lock. So that's the first plan. So what we can do is give me a rough mark, or I can just use a pair of calipers, I suppose. So you can use a pair of calipers if you wanted to. Whatever's going to work for you. Okay, so roughly there. So then that would be, scribe that line. Okay. So that's how much we need to remove. So we've got a couple of choices. We'd probably do that on the key machine. Maybe hacksaw a bit off. There's not a lot there to hacksaw. Or we just simply fold down to it. Okay, so I've got a nice coarse file. We'll see how we get on with filing. Otherwise I'll give it go on the key machine. Okay, now that's slotted in. So as we can see now, that key is slotted into the lock. Okay, but that flag is too wide. So we do the same thing again. Okay, we can use a felt tip pen. I'll do it on both sides. Make sure it's right. And push that into lock so it's seated. And then we can simply scribe a line across that face. So grab one of my little files and simply going to scribe a line across there like that. I'll do it on the other side. Okay, so one of the things we've got is now we've got our scribe line on there. Remember, that's only sitting on the outside of the cap. We've also got that thickness there, which is the case cap. So we roughly need that taken off a bit as well. So we've got the same thing. We could chuck that on the key machine and simply cut that flag down. Or we can do it by hand. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down to the case cap, because on these particular keys, we've got that brass curtain. Sometimes this curtain wears, so you leave a high bit on that key, and I'll show you what I mean once we get there. So let's take down that thickness first. Okay, I might just do that on the key machine, and I'll be back. Okay, so I just nipped that side off with the key machine. And the locks are just a little bit proud, so I'm just going to take that down a fraction and clean up. There's a little bit of left on there, so I've got a slightly finer file. Slightly finer file. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to leave that little step I talked about in the curtain on this particular lock. So I'm just going to use the filter tip pin both ways. Now I could simply just measure the case cap, roughly. Knock that off. Then I can scribe a line down there, both sides. Okay, put that in there. And so what I want is that bit of the key there to travel around with the curtain. So I'm going to mark it a little bit high. Okay, it's a little scribe on there. And now I can probably take that down with the key machine. So these doesn't really matter what dimensions they are. It's more of a visual marking. Okay, so I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, and then cut it off in the key machine. So I'll be back. Okay, so that's what we've done. We've just notched it down a bit, left it a little bit higher than our scribe mark. So we can just give it a little finish. Okay, put it into our lock. Okay, and we're looking for a couple of things. We're looking for that flag to turn underneath the case, which lets us know that that's low enough. It's still a bit high, and we're looking for that mark, so that little bit there can come down. The main thing is just take your time, there's no rush. Okay, it needs to come down a bit more. Okay, so a little bit on that distance there. So I'll hold on that side. Let's just spin you a bit. That's not the best file in the world, that one. But this is a Nicholson, so it's a nice thickness, whereas these new ones come up thicker. So I'm going to use this one, which is a fine file. Just take that down a bit. Okay, a bit more. Only on that tip bit. There we go, that's turning now. Okay, so that is at least the profile cut now to lock. So now we need to strip it down and start making a key. But we're going to reorder the lever combination. So I'll look at the combination of the levers and try and make a strong key. A strong key as in the shape of it's not going to snap so easy. Remember, we've got to have that control lever at the top. So I'm going to start, use the red pen, take that off. Okay, I think it was 7 levers, was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to count. So I'm just going to mark them up. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So what we're going to do is going to look for a strong key. Okay, so, and also we want to mix the order of the levers up. So what we can do is if we change a 1, go for a 3, just check them. Okay, 1 to a 3. Right, if we change a 1 to a 2, because that's got a massive difference in it. Okay, what we can probably do is we can probably go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or we'll figure that as we go. So that's hardly any lift, that key. Okay. Look for that first one, we want it just to be a little bit higher. So if we choose number 5, because I want to have a strong key. Okay, that's not bad. Grab the key blank. I'm going to use the pen again. Just marking the tip on both sides. Okay. We let that dry. Now when we're making the key, we want to make sure, when the key is in there, that will be rocking. Okay, so we want to make sure that that is staying down to the floor. And as we turn that key, we can see that in this sort of works a little bit the other way around. So this key is too high. Okay, so make sure the key's in, rubbing that lever face. Okay, it hasn't really given us much of a mark there. Okay, but there is a very small mark on this, small rubbing. That's where our first cut's going to be. So I prefer to make keys with a key saw, which is this. This is the square blade, but they don't make these anymore. So once I break all my blades, I will probably have to make new blades or come up with a different method that works for me. So I like this because it makes it quite accurately and quick. So what I'll do is I'll start off by taking a little bit, and then I can always adjust as they go. Okay, let's move that flicking a little bit there. Okay, so we take off just a small amount first. Okay. So that's what we've done. We've literally just taken off a very small bit. So I don't know if the depth's right, and I don't know if that thickness is right, but I'm going to visually check it and then bring myself in line if it isn't. Okay, so no, it's actually sitting on there quite well. So it's scooping on top of the lever, that cut. Okay, and we're still jammed here, so it needs to come a little bit lower. Okay, so we take it again. So we just take our time because we don't want it to go too low. Alright, so use the key saw to give it a slight radius as I'm going. But you can do that with a file. Okay, so almost there, just a fraction more. So when I'm making the key, I want to try and keep this key quite high. And so it's either just in that gate, so that's the post. Post is either just in that gate, and that way if I get any bit of a binding because this isn't straight, I'll be able to see that on the key and adjust it. But generally you want, in that gap, you want the post up on the, up as tight as you can get it, and literally just a little bit under to allow for tolerances in wear. So we're almost there, so I'm going to switch to a file. I'm just going to give it a slight radius. Okay, only a little bit. Make sure everything's square and I put the key in. That's not bad, needs just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So as I say, we want to change all the levers as we go. So if I go to a number 1, I'm just going to straighten that up a bit. Make it a little bit straighter. Okay, so I'm going to put the number 1 in there because that is a high lift. So as I say, we want to strengthen the key. Okay, so it's a little bit high. Just going to bring it down a fraction. So we can use the black pen, but now I've got my sort of first bearing. The thickness of this blade is roughly the thickness of a lever, give or take. So we just cut a little bit, and then we test it. So the most important thing making the key is the space, which is what we're doing here, the width of it, each cut. Make sure they're spot on. And then the second important thing is the depth. But if your spacing's not correct, your key won't work properly. So that's not bad. Okay, so that was a 1. I'm going to put a 3 in there. Okay. Okay, so 3 is high, so we need to take that down a bit. Check our spacing again. Okay. Touch high still. Take it down a bit more. So these locks are all handmade, so the thickness of the levers and the spacings are all varied. So that's not bad. Just a fraction high. Okay, so that's the first 3 levers in. I'm going to stop you there and I'm going to make the rest of the key, and I'll show you the operation once I get near the top. Okay, so slowly getting there. So I've put the gunpowder proof surround because sometimes it helps hold the key straight. So it's still a little bit high. Okay, put the drop lever. So this is the last lever in. So obviously that's quite a bit too high. Still too high. Down a bit more. Try that. Still a bit high. Okay. Let's try that. There we go, so that drop lever stops the bolt from falling out. That's the idea of it. Okay, that seems to be good. Let's put it all back together. So very close, so one there was just catching a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll put some pen on the key bits, see which one is rubbing. And so I'm just turning that bolt in. So one of them legs or a few of them are high. So okay, a little bit more. So basically when we're making the key, we have to make sure that it's that angle down there is 90 degrees. So you see you get that wiggle. That's just what we need to compensate for. So we're close. So we just need to take them all down a little bit. Okay, that's got a bit of time. Let's put it back together and we just see. It's pretty close. Still a bit high in places. Just going to get a gentle tap again. So still a bit high somewhere. Okay. Let's put that back on again. Got an idea where we are. Okay, so I'm just going to it's almost there. Okay. So that's roughly where we should be. Okay. So still a little bit high then. Okay. Try that. Tighten that up a bit. Okay. Check my spacings. Very close. So what I'm doing is I'm lifting and pushing the key. So in that position it's fine, see? So what I want is I want that tolerance. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty good. We'll do put a bit of oil in it and we'll test it. There's a little grab in there about there. See, if I push the key that way and turn it, it doesn't want to open, it's grabbing. It's just where the key's a little bit high, or you're spacing, it's come out a bit. Okay, so not bad, a little bit more. I think we're almost there. So I did a bit more fine tuning. So that first step is basically when you turn it, helps hold the key straight as well if you get a bit of play in it. So that's pretty good. Just took it down a bit more because it's still a little bit of gravity. And now that's fine in every direction. So in the end day is what we're interested in. Imagine you've got a big load of keys on it. And the key comes out in the open direction, the lock direction. Okay. So, duplicate your key next.